All right, welcome back. This is now chapter 13. It's a new area of study, implementing change. So this is the second area of study, so the second SAC for Unit 4. And the chapter is the importance of leadership in change management and management strategies. It's a longer title in your book, but this is the main important part. So the learning intention is to explore the importance of leadership in change management, and the success criteria is I can evaluate the importance of leadership when managing change and evaluate the effectiveness of different management strategies. So this is the think, pair, share to start us off with. So change cannot be put on people. The best way to instill change is to do it with them, create it with them. And this is Lisa Bodell. So think, pair, share it. So just pause here and then think, pair, share. Keep in mind you can pause at any time and just go back if there are any concepts or examples that have gone too quickly. All right, so welcome back. Let's move now to the keywords so we can understand and we can access the theories. So 13.1 is the importance of leadership in change management. So strategies are methods and plans that are implemented to develop and grow a business and to meet business objectives. So everything is to meet this business objective. So we implement things so that we can meet the business objectives. 13.2 is why do businesses need management strategies to respond to KPIs, so the key performance indicators. So we have lean production. So we talked about that in operations management, and that is a range of measures that aim to reduce costs, reduce waste, and increase efficiency in production, such as minimizing inventory and maximizing flow. Next is redeployment of resources. So process of relocating resources such as materials, equipment, and labor to different departments, sites, and countries in order to improve efficiency and productivity and reduce wastage. So, for example, the most obvious one is here in labor. If there is too many people in one department, you can just relocate them to a different department. So, and a very clear example of this was when we had the lockdowns. There were a lot of front of house staff or like customer facing staff, and they redeployed them to do other things instead. So I think, yeah, for example, you have like receptionists, and instead of them being receptionists, you get them to do like administration staff instead. So that's what my company did when the gyms closed down. Instead of people on the front desk, they were redeployed to be basically like membership relationship staff. So they were calling people, just seeing how they were, instead of helping them at the front desk. And this is what it talks about here in terms of redeployment of staff. So process of moving employees from one area of the business to another, often as an alternative to termination of employment. So it was exactly like that. All right, so this is the role of leadership in change management. So the overview is leadership's critical role is guiding the business through change, so or the managers basically. And the way that the leadership is important is that effective leadership is essential to successfully implementing and transforming a business during periods of change. So when there is change, the different management strategies that you implement and leadership styles, that's going to help implement it and actually transform these different things. So we talked a lot about the different strategies in Unit 3. So this is basically tying it all together. So skills such as communication, interpersonal skills, planning, and delegation are required from the leaders in your business. So this is an example of how you can implement change well. So you define what it is that you're trying to achieve. You analyze everything that is affecting the plan, or analyze the current situation, I mean. Then you make a plan accordingly. You actually do the plan, so execute it, and then you make changes to either reinforce it or adjust the plan accordingly if things aren't working. So this is managing change and strategies and KPIs. So how are you going to actually implement these things? So applying the appropriate management strategy in response to KPIs, drive business growth, effective adaptation, and achieving business objectives. So if you have the appropriate management strategies, it's going to respond to the KPIs that you have identified that you're going to measure. And then because you are doing that, you're going to be driving the business growth. Yeah. So these are the different management strategies that you can implement. What I suggest is memorizing maybe 2 or 3 of them. So then if there are any propose and justify questions that that exam questions have, then you have something up your sleeve to actually expand and explain on. I'll expand on a couple of main ones that you can apply to a lot of different scenarios. So staff training and development. So that will probably be linked to the human resource management. But when you train your staff and you develop your staff, what's going to happen is they're going to be more effective at their job. And because they're effective at their job, they're going to actually do the plan or enact the plan that you put in place, therefore meeting the business objectives, right? So they are able to do the thing that you want them to do. A big one is this one as well. So technological investment. So think of a lot of different technologies that can help. So AI is a big one. So I have a suspicion that they're going to be using AI in one of the exam questions. Or you can talk about automated productions or the synergy or the hybrid of the two. So having some production, but also having people involved as well. So the link to the business objectives there is that if you improve or if you increase the investment in technology, it's going to be more efficient in whatever way. So you need to explain how it's going to be more efficient. And because it's more efficient, you have more output, and more output means more sales, basically. Or because it's efficient, it's going to reduce your costs of making your things in your production. All right. So that's the cost cutting measures as well. And then I think another one, I'll say innovation is part of that technological investment as well. But if you also think about this is global sourcing and manufacturing. That can also link to your CSR theories or concepts. So corporate social responsibility. So global sourcing means that you're going to get your inputs of your products elsewhere from around the world. Or the manufacturing part is you're going to get your things made somewhere else and then import it into your home country. And the reason why you would do either of these, so global sourcing or manufacturing, is because it is more efficient or more cost effective doing it elsewhere than doing it here in your home country. So I would suggest memorizing these ones, or if you can expand on any other of these management strategies, then include those as well. All right, these are the different management strategies that you can talk about as per your textbook. So you already have this. So you just need, if you have any questions in how to expand any of these, then just ask your teacher. This is your staff training and your development. So we're going to actually go through a couple of different ones on here and actually applying it to different changes or change in processes. So you can actually visualize and understand better the application of these things. So the link to your KPIs and achieving business objectives, you enhance your employment skills and productivity, and it's going to directly impact on performance and employee satisfaction. So if the people can do the job better, then you can make the output or the service better. And if you are also developing and training your staff, they're more likely to stay with you because it is linking to that Maslow's hierarchy of needs of actually your self-actualization, or is the four drive theory of the drive to acquire, so acquire knowledge, so they would be more motivated to stay with you as well. So how you can actually do this management strategy, so training programs, professional development, and coaching as well. We're going to talk about it in regards to McDonald's, just so then you can see how it would look like in an actual business. So McDonald's has a hamburger university, so they provide extensive training for franchise owners and staff, focusing on operational excellence and customer service. So franchise owners means the people who own the McDonald's. So not all McDonald's are owned by the same person, so you can buy a McDonald's for yourself, but then the way that you operate a McDonald's, you can go to Hamburger University. And then on top of that as well, they have really good operations management. So more or less, wherever McDonald's you go, it's going to be the same because they all have the same operations. And I think that's probably part of their their business or their intellectual property to run a McDonald's a certain way. All right, next is changing management styles and skills. So if you adapt your management styles, it enhances team performance and agility, directly affecting leadership effectiveness and organizational flexibility. So, excuse me. So what that means is if you have a business that you need to change your management style from consultative to more autocratic, for example, or if you have a team already that is all professionals, you probably could do a little bit more laissez-faire. And the other expansion of that is the skill. So if you're going from a 5-person business to a 20-person business, so that's the change in itself, then you'd want to increase your communication skills from just speaking to 5 people at a time to then 20 people at a time, and more of the broad-based communication skills. The way that you can implement that is your leadership training. So you train your managers, promoting collaborative management styles and emphasis on emotional intelligence. So the managers will need to increase their EQ, so their emotional intelligence, and that is linked to the interpersonal skills as well. The application to McDonald's. So McDonald's leadership adapts its management approach by promoting a culture that values feedback and employee participation, enhancing store operations and customer service. So when you are becoming a bigger and bigger company, you need to really focus on your culture. Making sure that your official culture is going to be actuated in your actual culture. So you have your vision statements and your mission statements, and you're actually enacting it, so it's going to be your actual culture, so what happens in your business. And you generally do this when you have a very big business, because that's the way to get the same everywhere. You need to have a shared vision amongst the whole company. Next is technological investments. So the link to your business objectives is boost operational efficiency and innovation, key for maintaining competitive advantage and market share. So if you have more efficiency, then you can be a cost leader. So that what they were talking about in the previous chapter, so the last area of study. But because you have a competitive advantage, that could be from your differentiation as well, because you're very innovative, and then you can maintain your market share as well because more people are coming to buy from you. The way that it's implemented is investing in technology, your IT infrastructures. So, for example, if you have good systems or good user experience, they'll want to come see you. But it's also as simple as if you have good systems for your people to use, then they'll be able to do their job much better as well. Adopting AI and machine learning. The application to McDonald's would be McDonald's investment in digital kiosks, and the mobile app enhances customer ordering experiences and streamlines operations. So this here is probably the big one. So streamlining operations, which means you don't have to have a massive line at the door waiting for one person. You can have a couple of kiosks there, and then the lines could be there where the couple of kiosks are. So you don't have to create this massive funnel, just limited to one or two counters at the front. So you can open up as many of the digital kiosks, and then on top of that, what they did was they had the mobile app, so you don't even need to go to the kiosk anymore. You can just order from your app, and then it goes straight to them. So what they can do is they can invest in these technologies, and then reinvest more of their labor costs to the kitchen, so they can actually output more. They can produce more output. So the customers' orders. Or, of course, what they can do is they can save that cash and save that money, and then keep a lot of that profit margin for themselves. So I'm not too sure which one. Probably a little bit of both. So this is what it talks about with your technological advancements and why you would like to do it. So memorize a couple here, and why you would want to invest in technology. Next is talking about the improving production quality. So the link to your business objectives are higher product quality increases customer satisfaction and decreases return rates. So what that means is people would like it more, and then you have less returns. So if you have less returns, that means that's less wastage. So it's more efficient for yourself, because you don't need to waste that product. And so your margins are going to be smaller, because that's actually more sales for yourself that you get to keep. You also enhance your brand reputation and customer loyalty. So if people know that you have a good product, they will tell their friends more about it, and at the same time as well, it will encourage repeat buyers as well. The next thing is around the implementation. So the way that you are going to implement this is what we talked about in operations management. So that's quality management, control, and assurances. So those are the different strategies you can implement to improve production quality. Continuous improvement initiatives and lean management strategies. So that's a way that you can implement these things. The application to McDonald's would be that they've implemented stringent quality control measures and supplier standards that ensure consistent food quality and safety across all locations globally. So what that means is the patties, the buns, all of the different supplies that they have, they don't actually have it like in store. They don't make those things in store. It is by an external supplier, and then they would have their own like warehouse or factory, and then they will distribute it to all of these different McDonald's restaurants. So all they need to do is cook it inside the store, but all of the supplies and all of the actual ingredients are externally. So what that means is you can you'll get the same thing at any McDonald's, or more or less the same thing, if they follow the process, if they follow the operational guide. Yep. It's very similar as well to I know in Coles they do the same thing for the like the special breads, like your sourdough breads and all that kind of stuff. The bakers in store, they don't make those sourdough breads. They have an external place that make them. So all the bakery team need to do is they just put it in the oven. So you're gonna get more or less the same product, but it's going to be different if it's the in-store bread that they have to bake from scratch. That's going to be different. Yeah, it's going to be different because it's like a different baker. And the ones that they have with the special breads, that's all like this kind of thing, the production line. So you get more consistency when you have an automated process compared to one person making it here. They make it this way, even though they're supposed to follow a certain process, but you have another person here and they're going to have probably different qualities as well. All right. So this is the benefits of improving your quality. Next is your cost-cutting measures. So you achieve your business objectives by reducing your operational costs, increasing net profit margins, and financial stability. So lower cost means you have higher margins. Higher margins means you have higher profit, and you have more money that you can actually use onto your business as well. Next, the way they implement it is streamlining your operations. So you're going to try to make it as efficient as possible. You reduce your overhead costs. So overhead cost means the cost of your business just existing. So stuff like a website, domain would be one. Having your different like licenses would be one. Because that's separate to your variable costs, and your variable costs are your cost of actually making the thing. All right. If you make more bread, it costs more money because you have more bread to make. But if you have like a domain name, or you have a registration on the Australian, like an Australian business name, and you register that name, that's the cost regardless of how many breads that you make. Yeah. And negotiating supplier contracts. So if you are big enough business operation, what you can do is you can negotiate with your supplier. And we talked about it in the last chapter about economies of scale. So if you buy more things, what you can do is negotiate for a cheaper per price or per unit price. Yeah, so you might be buying more in total, and it costs more in total, but per price it is cheaper. So it means that you're increasing your profit margin. The application to McDonald's is it focuses on reducing waste and improves energy efficiency in its restaurants to cut costs and enhance sustainability. So I think that there's like, for example, there's like solar in some of the companies, just so that it will reduce some of the running costs as well. Implementing lean production techniques. So the link to your business objectives here is increases your efficiency and productivity by minimizing your waste and optimizing processes. So very similar to the cost cutting measures here. And it impacts cost control and output. Sorry, that should be output. The strategies that you can implement are adapting the lean management principles. So pull, tact, one-piece flow, zero defects. So this is talking about your operations management stuff. And then just in time for your inventory systems as well. The application to McDonald's here is using your lean production techniques in food preparation processes, ensuring quick service and minimal wastage. So for example, they have, they'll use the little compartments to basically heat up your food instead of using all this different oil. Or if you guys have ever seen a chips, like a chip box be filled up, they have a special like funnel that they use just for the chips, so then they know how much to use like each time as well. So that's like part of the lean principles. So you're not giving too much or too little, it's pretty consistent all the way through as well. And then, of course, they would have something like a just in time. So they would look at their forecasting, or they look at their previous sales and order accordingly in terms of the ingredients that they bring in store. This is the redeployment of resources. So the link to this is optimizes your resource allocations. So you have some assets and you want to make full use of the assets without too much wastage. You enhance the return on investment. So that's ROI, return on investment, and operational efficiency. So the strategy implementation would be strategic reallocation of capital expenditure, optimizing workforce distribution, and utilizing natural resources sustainably. So what that means is you're going to be strategic in where you're going to put your equipment and your buildings, or you use it as much as possible. Optimizing workforce distribution, meaning that you're not going to have too many in one department compared to not enough in another. So you're going to be utilizing those well as well. And then lastly, if you have natural resources, you're going to be sustainable about it. So just like we were talking about with our IKEA one, they have their own forest that they, excuse me, they have their own forest that they get the supplies from, or their wood from. So with McDonald's, McDonald's allocate resources effectively by refurbishing existing locations and opening new ones in high demand areas. So maximizing our market reach and profitability. So if there are, so this is what it talks about as well with strategic capital expenditure. If there are new suburbs that's being developed, they're going to try to go and build a McDonald's there, just so that they can increase their market reach or their market share also. But if there's like a McDonald's that's been run down, but it's still very profitable, they're going to revamp that just so that it can be more presentable, and then there's that like perception that it's a good business, so more people will come into that as well. We have innovation. So this one's pretty self-explanatory, where innovation, the link to your business objectives is that it drives product development and market diversification. So it's going to improve your quality, or it's going to be more diverse, or you have more differentiation. All right. It's also crucial for growth and adapting to market changes. So innovation means that, like, if the market is changing and adapting, you must adapt with it as well. The way that you implement this is through research and development investment. So if you have a research and development team, you're going to provide more funding for them. Fostering a culture of innovation, partnerships with startups, and academia. So academia meaning like universities or research places as well. The application to McDonald's is innovations in McDonald's menus, so such as introduction of plant-based options and global flavors. This is actually a really big one. So we have introduction of plant-based option as more and more people are trying to be plant-based in their diets. But this is a really big one with the global flavors, so catering to diverse consumer tastes and dietary needs. If you go to different countries, they're going to have a special like menu or special items just for that country. So going to a country, I think like Greece, I think there was like a kebab or a souvlaki burger that I tried over there, compared to here, of course, when we have our own menu. Or this one I just heard, I don't know if this is real or not, but in India, cows are considered gods there, so they don't actually use beef in their burgers. It's mainly vegetarian burgers in McDonald's. So, I mean, what's the point? But like, that's catering to the market segment that they're in. The last one that we have is global sourcing and manufacturing. So the link to that is achieving your business objectives. expands your market reach, and reduces costs by utilizing global efficiencies. So, like we were talking about before, it's going to achieve your business objectives because you're going to expand in more markets. You're also reducing your costs. So if it's cheaper to make in China, cheaper to make in Bangladesh, in Vietnam, then import it to here. Then that's what you're going to do to reduce your costs, therefore increasing your profits. It also affects the scale of operations, so how big your operations management needs to be and your cost competitiveness. So if you are manufacturing elsewhere, like we're talking about, you can actually compete with the local businesses based on the costs, because you have lower costs, so you can actually have a more profit margin compared to them. The implementation of this is establishing production facilities in cost-effective regions. So if you have a warehouse, not a warehouse, a manufacturing manufacturing factory in one of the more cost-effective countries, just like China, then they can make it there, and then they can sell it here. Global supplier networks. So if you have something that is very niche, so people like Brazilian coffee, so you would get suppliers from Brazil, and just depending on what it is that you are selling, you can tap into other countries globally. And then, of course, internal logistics optimization. So as you can see here, there's a lot of different moving parts. So you want to make that efficient as well, from going from place to place. Excuse me. The last thing is the application to McDonald's. So McDonald's global sourcing strategies ensures cost-effective supply of ingredients while maintaining quality standards, supports its worldwide operations. So, for example, like here in Australia, I think that because in Australia we care a lot about where it's made. So more of the ingredients are here in Australia, but it doesn't mean that it's just stuck in the in like the one state. So you can get the different ingredients from other states, but it's utilizing that you're not just in a local market. You're utilizing all these different networks that you actually have. Yeah. So the point of all of this is, of course, how do each of these different management strategies link to the KPI. KPI generally is market share or profit. That's like the two main things that a business wants to do, and how is it achieving these business objectives. So for example, your business objective is to increase profit. So what's the KPI that you want to track? It is your sales, your cost. Those are two main things. So if you can track those two KPIs, it's going to help you make decisions to achieve your business objectives. And all of the titles on here talks about the different management strategies that you can implement. All right, that's it for chapter 13.